Immigration debate in the United States, a political talking points or tangible reform. Which political party has implemented the most productive changes? Welcome. Today we will dissect the sensitive topic of immigration reform, a major issue in American politics. Is it merely a talking point, or has it transformed into tangible action? The history of immigration policy is complex and multi-layered. It's been a hot topic since the formation of the United States and still remains at the forefront today. Both Republicans and Democrats have wrestled with this issue. Each party often points fingers at the other while claiming superiority in their approach. Republicans usually advocate for strict immigration policies. They argue this is necessary to preserve American jobs, economic stability, and national security. In contrast, Democrats generally favor more inclusive immigration policies. They argue that America is a nation of immigrants and should continue in this tradition. The Reagan era saw the Immigration Reform and Control Act of 1986, a landmark decision by a Republican administration. This act granted amnesty to millions of unauthorized immigrants. Yet it also increased border security and imposed sanctions on employers hiring undocumented workers. It was a classic example of a bipartisan approach, a rarity in today's polarized climate. Under the Democratic leadership of President Obama, the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals (DACA) was introduced. This offered temporary protection to immigrants brought into the U.S. as children, demonstrating a more sympathetic approach. However, DACA was met with fierce opposition from Republicans who claimed it was an overreach of executive power. This marked a clear divide between the two parties on immigration. Under President Trump, a Republican, immigration policies became even stricter. The controversial zero-tolerance policy led to family separations at the border, stirring up fierce national and international debate. This policy drew severe criticism from Democrats, human rights activists, and even some Republicans. The backlash led to an executive order ending family separations, but the damage was already done. The Trump administration also attempted to dismantle DACA, but this was blocked by the Supreme Court. The issue of immigration has remained a contentious battleground between the two parties. President Biden, a Democrat, has pledged to undo many of Trump's immigration policies. This includes reinstating DACA, ending the Remain in Mexico policy, and ceasing border wall construction. However, these actions have prompted backlash from Republicans, who argue it encourages illegal immigration and compromises national security. The divide seems to be wider than ever. So, who has implemented the most productive changes? It depends on perspective. What one party sees as progress, the other often sees as a step backwards. If productivity is measured by strict enforcement and reduced immigration, then Republicans may claim the mantle. They've introduced policies aiming to curb illegal immigration and prioritize American workers. But if productivity is centered around inclusivity and humanitarian treatment, Democrats may claim the title. They've sought to extend rights and protections to immigrants, particularly those brought to the U.S. as children. The debate over immigration is a reflection of the broader ideological divide in American politics. It's a disagreement on what constitutes the American identity and the nation's core values. As such, it's a debate that transcends beyond policy into the realms of morality, ethics, and the very concept of nationhood. The question remains, is immigration merely a political talking point, or has it evolved into tangible reforms? The answer is both. It's a major political issue, but it has also led to significant policy changes. However, the effectiveness of such changes is subjective and largely dependent on political affiliation and personal belief. What one party or individual views as successful, another may deem a failure. As American citizens, it's up to us to scrutinize these policies critically, to evaluate their impacts, both intended and unintended, on the lives of immigrants and the nation at large. The immigration debate is far from over. As long as America remains a beacon of opportunity, people will strive to make it their home. The challenge for American politics is to find a balance, to protect the interests of its citizens while respecting the rights and aspirations of those seeking a better life. In conclusion, immigration remains a critical issue in American politics. It's not merely a talking point but a matter that significantly affects millions of lives. Both political parties have made productive changes according to their ideologies, but the discourse around immigration reform is ongoing. and it's up to us, the voters, to direct its course in the future. Thank you for joining us today. Stay informed, stay critical, and remember, the power to shape policy lies in your hands.